Hello, and welcome to the podcast, episode 19, where today we're going to be discussing the Tesla Cybertruck Part 2. So, this is the first episode that I have done that is a sequel to a past episode. And I'm doing a sequel to the Tesla Cybertruck mainly because I did the previous episode on the Cybertruck when it had just been announced and no one had really documented any major problems. But now, 7 months later, people have. This should also just tell you that this is how bad the Cybertruck is. Just the fact that I have to make a second episode, that tells you how bad this thing is. Because if anything, Mr. Elon Musk, Mr. So-called, I think I know most likely probably more than... Or wait, no, I can't speak English right now. I'm sorry. Let me retry that. Mr. I think I know more about manufacturing than anyone else currently alive on Earth. No, you don't. The Cybertruck's not it. It's not it. And really, Teslas aren't it, in general. I would also like to point out that electric car sales are down, and that's neat. Anyway, back on subject. So, many things have been documented about the Cybertruck, all of which are killing people, pretty much, inside and outside, physical and mental. I don't know if anyone's actually been killed by the Cybertruck yet, but I will not be surprised if someone does within the next few months. And honestly, I'm really shocked that someone hasn't been killed by the accelerator pedal. Out of all the things that are wrong with the Cybertruck, the accelerator pedal is what got it recalled 3 months ago, I think. The accelerator pedal is a piece of metal that is being covered with a piece of plastic that gives it, a more aesthetically pleasing look. And now, this aesthetically pleasing piece of plastic is not being held on by anything. It simply slides onto the piece of metal, and there's nothing holding on. It's not Elmer's glue. It's not hot glue. It's not being held on with screws, not welded in. Well, you can't weld plastic. But nothing's holding it on. So, it's sliding off. And there is a perfectly placed divot in the firewall that the excuse me, that the piece of plastic is getting caught on. And it's in a perfect spot where the accelerator pedal is it's in a spot where the accelerator pedal will only get stuck if the throttle is at full. Now, the only way that you can fix this is to take a moment to realize what's going on, which when you're in this state of panic, you won't. You gotta, look down. Oh, the pedal's stuck. Oh, yeah, that piece of plastic is stuck again. And then, boom, fixed. I mean, why did they have to recall this thing? All they had to do with that was that. No, I'm kidding, obviously. This is bad, and they fixed it. Good for them. But you would think that they would know that. As the most valuable car company in the world, owned by the person that knows more about manufacturing than anyone currently alive on Earth today, you would think that they would be past that. They would have looked at that and thought, oh, well, that piece of plastic is sliding off. They wouldn't even have to say, oh, it's getting caught on the firewall. They would just have to say, oh, we're cheapskates, and we just decided to put this piece of plastic just on there. Not being held on by anything, just friction's holding it on there. Now, another innovative feature about the Cybertruck is it has a push-button gear selector. That's a really innovative feature that cars from the 50s and 60s definitely were not using. This is an all-new technology. Wowee. But no, I'm kidding. Push buttons have actually been around since the 50s and 60s. But the worst part about this is that it's on the roof. Or ceiling, rather. So, to change gear, you have to raise your arm up and then, well, touch the button. The only issue with this is that the panel that the push button gear selector is on is falling off. So, not only is the aesthetically pleasing plastic pedal, not only is it being held on with hopes and dream, so is the ceiling. Now, another problem with the Cybertruck is the size. Now, I get there are a lot of people out there that are, looking at full-size Ford F-150s and, Dodge Rams and saying these things are too big. And I say no to that. They're not too big. They need to be that big to haul whatever they can. They also need enough space to fit the engine and electronics. Because they have big engines. And if they didn't, they would not be able to haul as much as they could. Now, the Cybertruck is big too. It's wider than a Ford F-150. However, bed space is non-existent. It cannot fit a bicycle. In the bed, the place where things go, it can't fit a bicycle. Now, the payload capacity, which is how much weight it can fit in the bed, is actually pretty good, 2,500 pounds, which is 1.25 tons. But the towing capacity is where it goes downhill. Now, don't get me wrong. The amount it can tow is impressive. It is 11,000 pounds. And then, SpaceX is trying to show that off by, putting their rocket engine in the back of a trailer and then the Cybertruck's hauling it. Woohoo! But let me remind you, it was a 2010 Toyota Tundra that hauled the whole space shuttle to where it rests now. Without a full tank of gas, the space shuttle weighs 165,000 pounds. This is a 14-year difference, and it seems like we haven't evolved that much. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure the Cybertruck can haul a little more than 11,000 pounds, but I'm going to say only a little more. Correction, it was a 2012 Toyota Tundra, but still, that's the same engine, same body style, same everything. But still, it's the difference between hauling a space shuttle engine and a space shuttle. Anyway, moving on to the gruesome part, the frunk. Seems like everything these days has an automatic closing button, and the Cybertruck is no exception. Obviously, because there's no engine, the front of it is just storage. And somewhere on the Cybertruck there is a button that will open it. So, you open it, you put your luggage in, and then you close it, and then it should be as simple as that. The only issue, though, is that they've either ran out of money or forgot to put a resistance sensor where the frunk is. What I mean by that is it's like a garage door. If it detects a thing in the way of its path, it will open back up. Or if it touches it and detects resistance, it will go back up. Tesla did not implement this in the frunk. Therefore, it decapitated a carrot, thanks to car throttle. Wait, no, Throttle House, sorry. Yes, they decapitated a carrot, and as a member of the vegan society, that's not okay. No, I'm kidding. They did cut the fat end of a carrot off, but they also, another person decided, these people are full of malarkey. I'm going to put my finger up to it. So he put his finger up to it, and his finger is no more. No, I think he still has his finger, but his finger was crushed. I mean, the levels people go to show off their ignorance is amazing, but this is like a new level. I mean, this guy showed no fear at all. He said, let's get her done. I'm going to put my finger up to it. Ah, my finger! Ah, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Ah! Now, visibility in the Cybertruck is mid. If you look up, you can see everything because the roof is made of glass. But the A-pillar, which is the pillar up front, it's the pillar that holds the windshield on, the pillar is so thick that it's just a blind spot. Now, a really good thing about the Cybertruck is that it has cameras They don't, and they would be even better if they resolved the blind spot. But no, the cameras are for the left and right turn signal. Basically, it'll show you what's behind you in the left and right areas if you're depending on which way you have the turn signal on. And also has a backup camera. And they would be even better if they actually worked during the nighttime and during while it was raining. The cameras don't have a night vision mode, so during the night it's just black. And while it's raining, the water pulls up because the cameras are completely exposed. There's nothing covering them. And if it is raining and you have something in the bed that you don't want to get wet, not that you could fit anything in there, it's a good thing that you have the tunnel cover to close. The only issue that is, if it's raining, as I've said, the camera pulls up, the water pulls up, and you can't see anything. And because the tunnel cover is closed, the rear view mirror is useless. On the subject of the tunnel cover, you also have the noise that it makes when it opens. I can impersonate it really well. It goes something like this. If you want video evidence of this, just watch Scotty Kilmer's video of him driving it, and there you have it. Now, there are 3.5 trim levels available for the Cybertruck, and I say a half because there's a special edition that you could only get for limited time, I think, that was available for all trim levels. There is the single motor rear wheel drive, the dual motor all wheel drive, and the Cyber Beast. Now, before I continue, I'd like to say, when the Cybertruck was being teased in early second decade of this century, they were saying that it was going to be, at max, $40,000. The cheapest trim level is $60,000. The most expensive model is $100,000. But on the subject of that half trim level, the Foundation Series, if you get the Cyber Beast with the Foundation Series, it's $120,000. The Foundation Series, which practically does nothing, is a $20,000 increase. Now, what does the Foundation Series include? Well, you get your Cybertruck as faster than anyone else. There are also other things, such as the interior is different and such things like that. Basically, it's a waste of money. Oh my god. I've just stumbled across a forum called the Cybertruck Owners Club. It's the most boring club in the world. Now, the Cybertruck is quick, but it's not fast. The Cyber Beast can accelerate 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. And that's impressive. I'll admit that's really good for something that has off-road tires, is as high up to the ground as it is, and as heavy as it is. But I feel like the speed limiter is just set a little too far back. Like many modern vehicles, it is equipped with a speed limiter. It limits it to, guess how much? Incorrect, 112 miles an hour, which is the exact top speed of a 1990 Toyota Previa, a minivan with an inline 4 that has like 8 times less, give or take, the power. Now, I get if you remove the speed limiter, this thing probably goes 200 miles an hour. But no one's going to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to take very long for people to start modifying Cybertrucks into off-road vehicles or track beasts or anything like that. Honestly, I think that'd be pretty cool. And there will most definitely be an engine swap, like an internal combustion engine swap into one of these. How do I know this? Because people have always done it with other kinds of Teslas. But I think specifically the off-road modification will be a really good thing to do because a couple of people, or maybe more, put a Cybertruck up against a Subaru Forester. And they took it up a little hill. It was a little rocky, it was a little suspension twisty. The Subaru climbed up it like it was nothing, as it should. It was the off-road trim. The Cybertruck, being a pickup truck that has off-road tires, lockable rear differential, didn't make it. It went halfway up, started slipping the tires, and wouldn't make it up. Not to mention the fact that no matter how high you put the suspension on it, if you go off-roading, you're going to bottom out. Now, after you get your Cybertruck dirty, being a Tesla owner, you're going to want to clean it. Now, if this were a normal car, you'd be able to drive it into a car wash and drive it out. But no, with the Cybertruck, you must first put it into car wash mode. Why? I'm just laughing at the fact this stupid thing, has makes you go into its settings and turn on car wash mode. And you want to know what happens if you don't put it into car wash mode? The whole thing breaks, and you cannot get a warranty for it. Like the warranty goes void, and you're $100,000 in debt. So here's my question: why don't you just leave car wash mode on? Like I'm not talking specifically to the people that drive them. I'm talking to the people that made it. Why make it the owner's decision rather than just making it just on all the time? Like this whole thing just kind of seems like a scam. Like when you realize how incomplete this thing is and how expensive it is and how many things could make the warranty go void, it just seems like the world's biggest scam. And I know there are people all over the world that are saying, my boy Elon Musk would never scam me. But I'm sorry, man, but it just kind of seems like he is. Even if he isn't, this is still kind of putting him in a bad spot. And he's lucky that the people that are buying these pieces of garbage are kind of too ignorant to notice that. But that doesn't mean that there are people out there that are noticing this thing and pointing fingers at him. Now, I want to go a little further into the crash test. In the previous episode, I said that the crash test was horrible. And yes, I was right. It was. Although I didn't go fully into why. Now, I was completely right. The rear wheel snapping, because it has rear wheel steering, is bad. I mean, that's something that needs to be fixed. But the reason it's happening is because there's no crumple zones in this thing. They've spent so long trying to figure out how to make their stupid stainless, quote unquote, bulletproof stainless steel work that there's no crumple zones. The steel is so durable that it's just it's effectively like a spring that has a lot of stiffness to it. Now, crumple zones exist purely to dampen a crash. Sure, the car suffers a lot of damage, gets totaled, but it mostly protects the passengers from severe injuries. It's effectively a soft spot in the car for an impact. And, as I've said, the Cybertruck does not have this. And on the subject of bulletproofness, it's not bulletproof. With certain calibers, yes, it is bulletproof. But if you fire a heavy enough caliber, it will go straight through. Not to mention the fact that making a bulletproof truck for civilians is a complete waste of time. Sure, I get if you're trying to make a military vehicle and then it meets high demand with civilians and then you bring it out to the public. Sure, that's fine. But this isn't a military vehicle. It is an electric, quote-unquote, luxurious truck that people are apparently buying, that people apparently had high demand for. Now, sure, if you are a target, the Cybertruck is apparently perfect, but that's not happening very often. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm just saying it doesn't happen that often. I mean, you have to have screwed up real bad to have a hitman on you. And you got to make sure you got a lot of money in your savings account. But eventually, over time, the bulletproofness will wear off it because the Cybertrucks are rusting. Why? Because there's no paint on them. Paint doesn't only exist to make cars look good. They exist to protect the metal that they are made of. Just because it's called stainless steel does not mean it is stainless. But don't worry, for a $5,000 markup, you can get a protective covering. But if you're a cheapskate peasant, screw you. Your Cybertruck's rusting. And you deserve it. Another issue with the stainless steel is that it is a real fingerprint magnet. These Cybertrucks are filled with fingerprints. What does this mean? It means you can't look cool while leaning on it while taking a picture. Now, DeLoreans, which are made of the same material, stainless, unprotected stainless steel, they had this issue too. And the way you clean a DeLorean is, and this is not an internet life hack. This is actually a genuine. This is in the handbook. This is in the owner's manual for how to clean your DeLorean. A rough abrasive cloth and gasoline. So not only is the Cybertruck expensive, it is also expensive to clean. So, I mean, you may as well just put it in car wash mode and then pretend that the fingerprints are gone. But other than that, the Cybertruck is a really great truck that I think everyone should buy. I think the $100,000 markup is really fair price. I think all cars should have no paint at all, so they're easy to identify the owner. And I wish all the cars were made by Lord Elon. So, with that, I think that is all I have to say. Have a good day, and remember to put that thing in car wash mode.